Hello everyone. You've made your way to Under the Evening Star, and my name is Melissa. And today I'll be sharing a WIP parade. This is a mid-year 2024 WIP parade. I've been away from Flosstube for just a little over a year. I was involved with a new position for work that I really loved. There was lots of professional development, and I crammed as much information in as I could because I'm very involved in literacy in my position, and it's something that I'm pretty passionate about and love, and so I was able to dive deep into it. One of the courses that I took this year was a 2-year course that I completed in a year. So I had a lot going on. I had a daughter that graduated from high school this year, so college visits, theater productions, lots of great things going on. We did a little bit of traveling. So I continue to cross stitch, just not as often. I think sometimes it was once a week and it wasn't as much as I wanted. But at the end of the day, sometimes I was just exhausted. And so I'm excited to dive back in a little bit more into my creative space. And I've been kind of sorting through things and kind of seeing where I'm at and, kind of assessing what kind of things I'd like to get done this summer. My contract is like a 200-day contract, and so I don't get as much time off as a teacher would, but I have about 6 weeks off, and so I'm trying to get things in a good spot. So hopefully as the school year begins, I'll be in a good spot to maybe be able to cross stitch and quilt a little more than once a week or so. There were spots in there where I was able to do it a little more often, but kind of want to assess what my priorities are and kind of get into some good rhythms. And so anyway, that's kind of taking some time this summer to look at some of these things, and I thought while I was doing that, it might be a good time to share with you my WIP parade. So the first thing I wanted to share is a stitch along that I've started, and it's with the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's Arctic Animals, and it came in this cute little box from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So I think it was called a mini kit, and it had the fabric, the thread, and a few little odds and ends to kind of add to it. That was pretty fun. One of the things I decided I'd source my own DMC. I have a couple of big box stores here where I live, and so I did that. But the fabric that came with this is Picture This Plus. It's a 28 count, and it's called Nocturne. I just think it's so beautiful. To me, it's just the right amount of modeling. It has kind of a solid look, but it's kind of monochromatic. So I've got the start of one of the little animals there. I think it's an Arctic fox. Let me see. Yes, an Arctic fox. I can't show you the pattern cover because it's a mystery stitch along, but I'll share some of my thread. I made my own little floss drops for this. I love the colors. I've got pretty long thread there because I do the, what do you call it? The loop method to start. So I started with longer pieces, and if I need to cut them in half, I will, but pretty fun colors. I think there's some constellations in the stitching that will happen, kind of like, that's on the box here. So that'll be pretty fun. It came with a kind of a floss card, but what I did was I copied this floss card and on paper and cut it out and just glued them onto my floss drops to make it easier, so I didn't have to refer to the pattern sheet. And they're kind of colorized. Their pattern has turned out to be pretty nice. It has you know, all the chart on one piece of paper, then it's blown it up into 4 different quadrants, and there's a nice overlap that they put on those so that it's easy to you know, kind of see where you're at. I'm doing a center start, so it's working out pretty well. I was tickled that the treasure braid came with this, and I think it's to add a little sparkle, maybe to some of the constellations. I've got another project that's by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and it's got some metallic thread with it, and oh my goodness, I haven't done some blocks in a while that's had it, and I'd forgotten what a bear it is to stitch with. But this looks a lot finer. It looks like it's going to be a lot easier to work with. It's not so thick. And in the box they sent some fun little things, some little stickers. There's one. I guess I could show it like that. So it's got a little bit of metallic to it. A little polar bear. And this is kind of fun. I haven't put it up yet, but it's a sun catcher, and so you peel this off the backing and you can hang it in your window, and I think it's supposed to do some like rainbow shimmers in your room. And then this is kind of just a little card that will tell you how to use the little sun catcher. So anyway, I tend to use these for maybe bookmarks or maybe a floss drop card or something like that. So we'll see. It's really cute. So that's project number 1, and I haven't put these projects in any particular order. Oh, the back of the floss card. It's really fun. So no particular order. So you may or may not have heard of Katie, the novel stitcher. I really enjoy watching her floss tubes. I haven't been able to expand my floss tube horizons very much with the time constraints that I have, but there's been a few that I've really tried to stay caught up on, and Katie's one of those. She did a couple months ago it was kind of a book club and stitch along kind of thing. So the book that was chosen was A Single Thread, and I think it might have been, well, I can't remember the author's name off the top of my head. I have a guess, but I don't want to guess wrong. But it was called A Single Thread, and some of the characters in the book were embroiderers. And I read this book actually last summer. I took a paperback copy with me and just randomly picked it up, but I knew it took place in England, and we were going to the UK. We went to, where did we land? I think we went to maybe Ireland first, Scotland, Wales, and England for about 2 weeks. And so I was like, oh, that'll be fun to take that book, because the location, the setting was in England. And the thing, when I was reading it, we were visiting some cathedrals, and I believe it was maybe the Salisbury Cathedral that I was visiting, and noticed that they had embroidered kneelers and cushions, and they really caught my eye, because those are the projects that the main characters in the book were working on. And I would just like, what are the odds that would come across? I was able to see them in person. So anyway, Katie kind of pulled her viewers and to see, like, from a choice of several selections, which book they'd want to read. And that one was chosen. And since I had already read it in paperback, I decided to listen to it. Because I could listen to it back and forth from work. So that was really fun to listen to it. And after because it'd been long enough that I'd forgotten some of the pieces of it. So it was a really good book. And one of the things that you could do was choose a stitch to go along, a cross stitch project to go along with it. So it could be like book themed, or however you wanted to tie it in. So this is what I chose. It's called A Top Notch Cup of Tea, and it's by the Top Notch Stitcher. I think it was a special pattern that came out at market a few, maybe 2 years ago, and they used a certain palette. So a bunch of different designers used that same palette to make some small cross-stitch projects. And so since this one had a book, and I love tea, and I think, of English tea, this was the one that's kind of spoke to me. So I started this, and I decided I wanted to make these books a little bit darker. So I used a DMC kind of equivalent that, she did put a DMC equivalent, but I added 2 more colors, a darker version of, I think both of these. So there's a light green, you can barely tell it's green for the vine in this, so I just went like a shade darker for the book, and then I did a shade lighter than this burgundy color for the top book. So I ran into problems though, because I wanted to kind of use my stash. I had to go buy thread, but I was looking through the fabric that I had, and I just couldn't find the right shade of color. And what I ended up doing was I had some fiber on a whim, and it was cream and sugar, and it was too light for what I needed. And I thought, well, it would be a good base. What if I coffee and tea dyed a piece of that fabric? What would that look like? And part of me didn't want to do that because I felt like it had already been dyed, and I'd be messing up like someone else's creation, like a perfectly good piece of fabric. But in the end, I just, I couldn't find anything, and I wasn't sure what else to do, because I didn't want to order a whole big piece of a different hand-dyed fabric just for this project, because it's pretty small. So I thought, well, I'll just experiment and see how it turned out. And I think it turned out pretty good. I watched the video, I think it was on Fat Quarter Shop's Flosstube for Priscilla and Chelsea did a tutorial on how to use coffee and tea to dye fabric. So that's what I did. And I'm not quite finished with it yet. Let's see here. So I changed the colors of the books to make them stand out a little bit more, and just have some fill in here to do, and some swirls up at the top. So anyway, I'm kind of excited. I just realized I hopefully didn't show that pattern. But anyway, it's a Top Notch Cup of Tea by the Top Notch Stitcher shop. So anyway, it's going along rather well. Been enjoying that. And these are my threads. It's got kind of a soft lavender in there. All right, so the next one is Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt for It's So Emma. So let's see. This is how far I've gotten with this. So it's just the big flower in right here. So not far, but I pecked away a little bit at it. So yeah, I just love the colors. I love these. And I'm keeping that in this project bag that I made myself with some poppy cotton fabrics. it's on a Lugana, and I think it's called for, let's see, called for DMC, and it's on a 25 count Lugana, just white, I believe. Okay. Next up is a Christmas stitch, and this one is Letters to Santa, and it's from the Fat Quarter Shop. It's a free pattern on their website, and I started this, I want to say, might have started this maybe on my birthday, 2 years ago, I think, and just didn't get far. Just got started on the border there. My daughter picked this one out, and I had this fantasy that I was going to get it stitched up really quick before Christmas so she could enjoy it last Christmas, but I did not. But love the colors. I love that blue, that kind of blue and red kind of fabric. I did unzip all of these bags, so sorry, I just zipped one back up. So I gotta unzip it. I'm stitching it on, I'm stitching it with DMC, and it's on, pretty sure, chalkboard black, Ada 14 count. So, okay, this one is one that's been a pretty big focus for me. So I got this at the first Jingle Ball, and it's a pattern by Lindy Stitches, and it's called Peppermint Candy. I guess the pattern actually goes this way, but this is the pattern. And this has been one, because it's on a 14 count, it's been easy to pick up. And when I've been tired and I just think, okay, just relax, sit down, and just complete one little motif. Yeah, motif. And so I think, what am I stitching it on? I know it's a 14 count, and it might be an ivory. I'm not exactly sure what color it is, but just DMC. So anyway, this kind of teal color is a little different for me to work with Christmas, I think. But I had my daughter kind of help me pick like where to start, and I think she kind of wanted me to get that rabbit done, but I was trying to figure out the best place to start. So I want to say I started with this goose, and when she was little, we were at Keystone Lake in Colorado at the Keystone Ski Resort in the summer, and we were feeding, they sell food at one of the little shops there close by, and we were feeding the ducks and the geese, and this one goose that was standing next to us, I even commented, I was like, wow, that goose is being really patient while we feed the ducks over here. And it was like 2 seconds later that the duck came up and like just bit her right there on the arm, and she was so shocked and upset, and she was like, bad duck, and I was like, it's a goose, and she was like, bad goose. So anyway, she does not like geese right now, and it just tickles her that this is going to be like a Christmas goose to have like for Christmas dinner in her mind. So anyway, I did eventually make it over to the bunny, and I've been kind of working around. So this is one that has been kind of a go-to for me, and I've really enjoyed working on it. I travel with this one. When I travel down to Albuquerque, I usually have to stay a couple days, and so it's easy to work on in the hotel and just stitch a little bit. So I've just got those on some little floss straps, and these are the colors. Let's see if I can twirl them a little bit. So pretty nice. I went to Staples, I think. Yeah, it was probably Staples, and bought some of their little tags and just hole punch them and put the DMC numbers on them for my projects. for the floss drops, and that's worked out really well. They come with a little string, a little cotton twine on them, and I just clip that off and hole punch them, and that's been working great. Initially, I was cutting my own out of cardstock, my own tags, and I just don't have time. Just don't have time to deal with that. So they actually, I'm leaning. They come in a little box like this. So I just hole punch them and get rid of the string. Works out great. Okay. What's next? The next one is a little one. It's by Stitching with Housewives. And I love the little seed packets. I've done, I think, the sunflower one. And I've got a strawberry one. Anyway, I like a lot of their little seed packets. So, I have just, I don't know if I started at the top or bottom. Probably started at the top. So I just have some of the blue for the checkerboard done right now. So it's not a big hard one, but I just didn't get back to it. And that one is on chalkboard black with DMC thread. And I think I do have my little sunflower one here if you want to see that one. So I don't have the pattern here, but you'll be able to see what it looks like. So that's my sunflower seeds. I think it turned out pretty cute. I'm not quite sure how I'll finish it, but like here's the strawberry pattern, and they just, you know, did some fabric on a board behind it. So yeah, I've been kind of klutz lately. I burned myself getting a dish out of the oven. I was reaching in to, I had two things in the oven, and I was reaching in, and the lid on one of the things popped up and got me. And I've got a got a bruise on my arm here from where I hit my Fitbit there. Just sometimes I just keep on going. So anyway, just tuck all those back in. Okay, this one I actually worked on last night. I hadn't touched it in a long time, but Katie, the novel stitcher, her next pick for a book, I think she's going to do one like every 2 months maybe. And the pick for this one, she kind of polls her viewers, and Funny Story by Emily Henry was the choice. And so it's kind of a love story, and I've started it. It's pretty good so far. But I decided to go along with that. I would do Primrose Cottage Stitches, Be Mine. I've got like 3 of these Valentine patterns from them, and I think it'll be a pretty quick stitch. And I'd started it actually during Mania last year, in 2023. And it just gotten a few stitches on it before that was right before things kind of started getting chaotic for me. So anyway, I pulled it out last night. And I needed something that was a bigger count, because my family was watching a show in my husband's, he's got like a room that's his office, and he has like a little love seat in there and a TV, and we were all sitting in there, and I was like, I'm going to sit down and cross stitch, but it was kind of dark. And I turned my little Halo Go light on, and they both were like, what is that? I was like, I need some light. So anyway, this is just, I'm working on the border right now, and it's kind of nice because the pattern is repetitive, and I think it'll go pretty easy. I'm so excited to have some time this summer to stitch, so a little more time. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, so the next one is Stronger Together by the Fat Quarter Shop. I love this pattern so much. It's a real modern design. I love the colors in it. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that is just so pretty. In fact, I loved it so much that I bought the quilt kit to go with it. So I love that. I think I've shared before that the designer of this pattern is from, I think she lives in Kentucky, in, I think, the town of Berea, where my sister went to college. And she talks a lot about the Appalachian Mountains, because, like, that's in that area. And then there's some ties to, they do some history of to African Americans that have made an impact in some way. So Katherine Johnson and York, he was associated with Lewis and Clark, and they tell a little bit of history about them. And I'm kind of stitching, I have this in my mind to stitch it for both myself and for my brother, and sharing some of this information with my brother because he's a history teacher, and he's hiked the Smoky Mountains, which is part of the Appalachian Mountains. He corrected me recently because he lives right in that area. It's Appalachian. So anyway, I just thought it's a nice small stitch, and I just think he might appreciate that. So usually, oh, and then Charles Young was another, is he an astronomer? Anyway, I need to, it's been a while since I read it, but the history of Charles Young is also shared. So anyway, have in my mind that I'm going to stitch it for both of us and share some of that history with him. I think that he would really appreciate it. So anyway, that's, I just got to visit with him and his family. He and his wife have 2 little girls, and they just came to visit for a few days. And we went to Aztec Ruins. I think it's a national historic, maybe monument. It's not a national park, but in the summer they like to go on what his wife calls a field trip. And so they do some camping, and they see some historical sites, and then they, go into some towns and do a little shopping, and they always have a grand time. So I was excited that we got to be a little part of it this year. So I'm just doing those on DMC, and it is, the fabric is 14 count for sure, and it's a navy. I don't know, I think I got that particular one at maybe a big box store here. And then here's some of the threads. They're just DMCs, so, which are lovely to work with. So anyway, I've got some of my supplies. I've got bags and bags, and this is one I picked up when I lived in Kansas. In Eudora, Kansas, there's a little quilt shop called Quilting Bits and Pieces, and they had this. It's made out of Liberty fabric, and it's got, a little place for your needles, place for your scissors to get hooked to, little pockets. I don't even know what I have in here. Oh my goodness. I've got needles. 26. Yay, 28. And what else? 26. I have a lot of 26. But I'm having trouble having enough 28. So the Arctic Animals, it's on a 28 count cashel. It's Picture This Plus, so it's kind of tight. And I was using 28. And I sat down to stitch today, and I actually broke the needle. And I was trying Peacemakers. And I don't know, I was like, it snapped. And it snapped just right below where the hole is, where you thread the needle. And I was like, good grief, am I stressed or something? Because it just snapped. And I was like, oh, it just, maybe, I just started the project. I haven't worked on it that long. So I was like, that was really odd. I said, I don't think I'm stressed. So anyway, I pulled another Peacemakers 28 count needle out. And within like 2 or 3 stitches, I snapped another one. I just laughed. I couldn't believe it. So I think after I pull the needle through the thread, there's something that I do, I think, with this finger, like to pull, to get that tension, to get, everything to lay flat. And I think I might be like putting pressure on it, like bending it right there. So anyway, it looks like I have a John James needle that I may try. I think that was my first time, excuse me, trying the Peacemaker, so I think maybe I'm just like gripping too hard or something. So anyway, that was a nice surprise. But I'm going to take this bag out, actually, and I'm just trying to get things kind of organized. I've got things tucked in things, and I don't know where everything's at. So, okay, so my next one is, I can't show you the pattern because it didn't come with like a cover photo, I don't think. Sorry, I closed that again. But it was a gift from my sister. Yes, I do have a pattern cover. And let's see if I can pull it out here. Let's see, there it is. So it's like a ball jar and a bouquet of flowers. So the designer is, she got it off of Etsy, and it's VML Designs Co. VML Designs Co. And I actually kitted this up to take with me on our trip to the UK, thinking I needed to have, I always have, my sister and I joke that we carry around an emotional support book, and I have an emotional support like cross stitch project. I can't go anywhere without a book and my cross stitch. I just have to have something. And did I have much time to stitch in the airport or on I didn't stitch at all on the plane, I don't think. It was like shoulder to shoulder on United. But I did stitch in one of the airports and maybe one night. So anyway, this is what I took, and I think, I mean, it was worth taking. We traveled very light carry-on, but I need to find probably a smaller project with just a little bit of thread, just to have something with me on those occasions where I don't think I'm going to have time to stitch, but I really feel like I need to take something with me. But anyway, since then I've worked on it some, and I'm just filling in the jar. So I've done a couple things lately where I needed to be like kind of listening into something and was able to just kind of fill in. So I did get a little bit of some flowers started and a leaf, and I have in my mind that I want to stitch this one for myself and for my sister because my dad collected ball jars and like milk, like the glass milk bottles, and he gave us some here and there. And it's just something that I look to every time I go into an antique store. I don't ever buy them usually, but it's just something that reminds me of my dad. And I feel like I would like for both of us to have that. And I bought her before a couple of different things. I think like a print and maybe a painting that was done on wood. There's been a couple things that have been like ball jar related that she's got on part of a gallery wall that's really pretty. So I thought that might be kind of a fun thing to have along with it. So, and in fact, maybe for hers, she loves pink, and it might be neat to do hers with just a very, very pale pink fabric. So anyway, I'll have to kind of see once I get mine done, like if there's enough contrast between some of the flowers. I guess I could always pick, you know, a darker shade of pink if I needed to. But anyway, that's what I've been kind of working on here and there. Before I left on my trip, I got the outline of the ball jar done and then the word ball, so that I just had to fill in. Okay, so I've got the first, who knows where that came out of. Got the first stack done, so have 2 more stacks. And where should I grab from? Let's see, I'll do this one. This is a shorter one. So this one I've shown before and have not worked on it since the last time I showed it in a WIP parade. But it is Owl Forest embroidery, and it is, I don't know, let's see, Strawberry Summer is what it's called. And I will try to like put this up close so you can see some of the detail there. I just think it's so pretty, and I love that the borders are all different. I think that will be a forgiving border to do. I started it, and it was my first hand-dyed floss project that I'd ever worked on. It's on a beautiful fabric, but I think the thing that kind of freaked me out was because the thread is variegated. Just beautiful, like you can see how it comes. But the white has blue in it, and as I was stitching, I think because it's so, you know, up close to my face, and I think it should be white, and it's got a lot of blue in it, and I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. I kind of panicked, and I thought, I don't know if I'm doing it right, because I know from listening to Priscilla and Chelsea from Stitching with the Housewives, they talked a little bit on one of the Fat Quarter Shop videos about how you can stitch variegated hand-dyed floss in certain ways. Like with pumpkins, you might want your stitches to go up and down so that it kind of creates those lines, and maybe a barn door you might have go, you know, a certain way. And some flowers you might want to go in a little bit of a circle. So, I don't know, I just kind of panicked, but I probably just need to keep pushing through with it because I love the design so much. So, yeah, and probably that blue is not going to, it's going to be light enough, I think, with everything around it, that it won't be like, oh my gosh, you've got blue blossoms. But, oh, the spools of thread, the little bobbins are just adorable. It's got the little owl and the symbol. So there's not a ton of colors, but there's the red and the yellow. And here's a green. There's two of those, and then this more kind of limey green. Yeah, there's two of the limey greens too. That is one that seems very aspirational, and I just love it so much, but I've been a little nervous to start it again. Okay, I've got this next one in a little cardinal bag, and it is one I haven't stitched on either in quite a while. It's a Mill Hill Buttons and Beads. I think the thing with this one, it is difficult for me because when you're stitching, it's just a lot of blended colors that aren't a definite like shape or image. And so I guess I shouldn't worry. It should like probably not matter where some of those stitches lie. But I felt like it was hard to kind of keep track, and I haven't really picked it back up. But I love cardinals. It's got a little button cardinal to put on there. And I couldn't even tell you, this is probably the top. I need to probably make sure that I mark the top of things. So anyway, I'll have to kind of look back and see where I'm at on those. But the snowflakes are little beads. So, I actually finished a little Mill Hill kit that I'll show in a following Flosstube. I finished it, and I will say the beading to me was kind of tricky as I started, but then once I got kind of a rhythm going with it, and got going, and one of you kind people told me to make sure that I do all of my stitching first and then do the beading. That helped immensely. It got easier as I went along, so that was awesome. So inside this bag, I've got like another bag, and that has like all my like different threads and beads and things in there. So bags and bags. And my mom made this cardinal bag for me. So I think it's so cute. It's a Charlie Harper fabric, and then it's just got some polka dots. So, all right, the next one I've had, this is probably one of my, it's my second longest one I've had. But it's not in here. What did I do with it? Oh, I think I see it down. Yes, okay. It's just the bag, and I'll show you the project for it here in a little bit. So, it's at the bottom of the other pile. This one, I think I said this last time. This project came from my public library, and they were giving out free cross-stitch kits. They have subscriptions available to Creative Bug, and they always have, you know, crafty things going on. And so I picked up this kit, and it was before I really kind of got back into cross-stitch again. And it's the DMC bicycle. I really do love this. And if I just glance at it, I just think it's adorable. But I think when I was stitching it, this is kind of where I started, right here. And the fact that it wasn't straight, and it was kind of zigzaggy, and when you're up close to something and it's not straight, it kind of was driving me crazy. And I couldn't tell, because it wasn't straight, if I was counting correctly. And it's only on, I mean, it's 14 count. It's not like it should be hard. Maybe it would be easier for me now that I've stitched some other things, but I've kind of put that to the side and time out. And when I first opened it up and was going to talk to you about it, I was like, I might just let this go, but I don't know, it is pretty cute. Be a good little springy piece to have out. The Ada is kind of crunchy. I mean, it's not bad, it's just really stiff. I think maybe it goes this way. So anyway, I don't think it would be a hard thing to finish. I just, you know, have other things that I'm more interested in. So the next one, okay, so this is one, the Peppermint Candy, little Christmas images and the little saying by Lindy Stitches was one I pulled out a lot. And this is one that I pulled out a lot too. And when I was pulling this together, I could not find the cover pattern or the cover photo for it. So I apologize for that, but I have lost track of it somewhere. But maybe there's enough of it here that you can kind of tell where I'm going with it. But it is hands-on design, and it's Let's Talk Spring, and I'm stitching it on 14 count chalkboard black. And I started this one on this side, and I worked this way with it because a lot of this was kind of a lot of white stitching, and I wanted to have some splashes of color. And so I decided with this project I was going to work across, and I've really enjoyed that. And I'm kind of move around, like if I'm ready to do some letters, like this is kind of intense here, so I'll do some of that, and then I went down and did a tulip. So it's been nice to be able to go up and do a raindrop and then do a little more white. So anyway, that one's been fun, and I've pulled it out quite a bit. The next one is another hands-on design, Let's Talk Winter. And I have spring, winter, and autumn. And so I haven't purchased the summer yet, but because when that one came out, I was like, okay, I need to work on the others before I buy it. So anyway, this one I started at the top and was working my way down. And I haven't really worked on this one, I don't think. But it's going to be really cute. I've kind of started the snowman's hat, and I think this one almost feels like it has a lot more of the white text than the other one does, but most likely I'm just probably going to stick with the spring, at least through the summer maybe, and make more progress on that before I pick up the winter one again. Maybe closer to the fall. I guess, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I say that, and then I'll get a wild hair and decide to do something else. But I'm just using the called for DMC with that one on 14 count chalkboard black. Okay, the next one is Berry Patch by Hello from Liz Matthews, another strawberry pattern. Love, love, love this one. And this one I was influenced by Katie. I actually had the pattern in my stash, but she did it as a stitch along a while back, and so I started it then. I did it more of like a start along, and I've made a little bit of progress on it, and here's my little progress. So I'm stitching this on Fiber on a Whim, Cream and Sugar. And so it's got a nice little modeling to it. It's very, very subtle. And I was a little concerned when I first started if those flowers would show up. And I kind of did some test pieces up here in the corner and decided to just do it with what it was called for. And I love it. I think it looks great. So anyway, maybe some of these like summary pieces, I gotta figure out a strategy of what I'm gonna stitch on in July. So that might be one. I know it's like also like Jolly July or Christmas in July. And so I have to kind of decide how I want to approach that. I was doing WIP Go last year, and I enjoyed WIP Go, and I mean, I usually made, if I didn't make my goal, then usually the next month I tried to like finish it up, but at least made some progress on my goals. But about halfway through, when we started traveling, and then I got my new job, that kind of fell by the wayside. I had to do a lot of like tracking my time, my hours, and tracking projects and documenting. I was very like goal mindset. I had a lot of tracking of things that I had to do, and so when it came to having to do having an assignment, I just couldn't do it. So anyway, well, for that berry patch, these are the colors. I'm just using the DMC, and I did my little Staples thread drops. So the colors are really pretty. Anyway, very nice. Love those. Okay, the next, I do have a lot of hands-on design projects. So this one was a mystery stitch along that they offered. Does it have a year on it? It's called the Costume Party Sal. And I'm trying to see if there's a year on it. If it was last year or the year before. I don't remember, and it probably doesn't really matter, but I'm doing this on a Fabrics by Stephanie. Let's see if I can find the information on the fabric here. It's 32 count Belfast linen in Silver Mist, hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie, and she offered that with the stitch along in a 32 count Belfast, a 32 count Lagana, and a 16 count Ada. So that was really nice. And I don't think for this one that I ordered the finishing piece for it. So I'll have to figure out how to finish it. But there it is again. I love the colors in it, and it's one of those things that, you know, as you finish each little thing, it kind of feels like a finish. So I've got some more to go on it, but anyway, it's pretty fun. These hand-dyed fabrics are kind of tricky. I think I've said before that I'm kind of struggling with my eyesight a little bit because I've got the monovision contacts in. One is far, one is near, and because those two prescriptions are so far apart, they've had to make my near vision with the contact a little less sharp so that I don't feel that pull, and so that I can see better with distance. I've got astigmatism, it's like all these things, but they did reassure me that I could pull out some reading glasses and that would be fine to do with the contacts. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead and get, like, I never wear glasses except to get to my contacts. So I have them on first thing in the morning and then at night as I'm getting ready for bed. And so I think they told me that I needed to probably like not wear my contacts quite as much as I do, as long as I do, because my eyes were red. I think it was kind of allergy related, but they said I probably need to ease up. So I'm just very curious to see if I have just like regular glasses on that are maybe bifocals, if it would be easier. So I don't know, we'll see. Right now I use a pair of readers, and it just, I mean, it's not even very strong, my prescription, or it's not prescription. It's something I got at Walmart. It's like 1.25, and it's just enough to just crisp it up a little so that I can focus better. And I use my Halo Go. I haven't actually pulled out my big table light as much as I had in the past. I'm not sure why. For a while I was doing some stitching in the evening with my family, kind of watching TV in the living room, and that came in handy, but for some reason I haven't really done that very much. So, okay, the next one is the Stitcher's RSVP, and this one's so cute. It's by, it's Alicia Paulson, and her company is Posy Gets Cozy, and this was a kit that I purchased from her. Just love the borders, the little teapot, the cat. I mean, I love every little element of this. And so the stitching on this, though, is 1/1. And so to kind of bribe myself to do the 1/1, I find it not easy. Maybe if I did it all the time, it would be easier. But I would do like some of it, and then I'd do a couple hearts, and then do a couple more letters, and then I'd do a couple more hearts, and I'd do a little bit more, and then I'd work on some of the house. So I've got, in the pattern, I've got the I'm not coming part. So that's a little rude. So I need to do the rest of it. It says, listen, I still want to be invited, but I'm not coming. And so I'm an introvert, and I love being around people, but sometimes you just need to like have some time to recharge. And so, and how do we do that? We spend time with our lovely pets and do some cross stitch or sewing. And so anyway, I just thought this was so pretty. The fabric on it is so pretty. It's 32 count even weave linen from Witchell, and Mediterranean Sea is what it says. So anyway, I can't wait to get that one on my wall. I love it. And I'll put it in here somewhere. So this one was kind of funny. When I started it, I think it came with some cardstock. I don't know. I pulled cardstock. I might have had, it might be a comic book board, but I want to say this came in the package with it, and I just real quick punched some holes and labeled them and got all the threads sorted. It's such a mess, but there you go. That's how every project is different on the mess that I have. So anyway, stick that one back together. All right, the next one I have not worked on either since the last time I showed it. And I'm not sure why. Just probably because I have so many other things. And I am finding that the like hand-dyed fabric, the smaller 32 count, I don't pick it up as quickly, and I haven't had as much like daytime hours to work on it. So anyway, this one is from Modern Folk Embroidery. The first time I saw this, I immediately fell in love with it. I love all the vines in the background. It's called the Moonshine Cabin, and the town where I did move around quite a bit when I was growing up, but the first town that I lived in was like the moonshine capital of the world, they call themselves, and it just made me think of like think of that. Not that, and now other towns, like I go visit my family. They've moved to a long time ago. They moved to near the Gatlinburg, Tennessee area, and everywhere you go is a place to like go taste moonshine now, and it just cracks me up. But anyway, the cabin is so pretty. You can tell that there's like some hand-dyed floss there in the house. You see just a little bit of variation, and it's just such a pretty design. So right off the bat, when I saw that, I really wanted to stitch it. The fabric is from Fiber on a Whim. That's all I've done as part of the moon. You can kind of see just that part right there. And most likely that is not the angle it's supposed to be. I don't know. But it's Night Sky by Fiber on a Whim, and it's 28 count casual linen. So I've got all my threads just right here. So anyway, all these ones that like I haven't touched in a while, should probably at least make a little more progress on them. Okay, the next one is Bonnie and Camille. It's in this Bonnie and Camille quilt bee book, and the cross stitch is in the back. You can see those designs and colors are so beautiful. So far, oh, and I'm doing this on the, I think it's 25 count Lugana, just a white Lugana. And this is what I have so far. And let's see. Oh, Cosmo threads. And they're kind of just kind of a mess in here because I have some on some drops and some, maybe they're all on drops, but they're just kind of loose in my bag, so it's kind of a mess in there. So anyway, that one, I love the colors of that one. Okay, this next one is another Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and this is the one that is my next to oldest. And at one time I used to say it was about 10 years old, but I think it's older than that now. There's probably a copyright on here. Yeah, 2017. So I don't know where we are at. No, it's not 10 years old yet. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 7 years. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. I've got some quilt projects that are older than this, but anyway, it's by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and when it came out, it was a mystery stitch along, and you know, every month a different little animal was released, and so I picked this up thinking that I was going to do it when we went camping. And we had a young daughter at the time, and what I found was camping was not a just sit around and relax. There was like no dishwasher. Food had to be cooked, you know, from like scratch. Were we tent camping at the time? No, I think we were in a pop-up camper at the time. And the evening hours, it was dark, so I didn't get the kit when this first came out. And I didn't really know much about cross stitch at the time. And I think it's a 32 count. And even back then, I had trouble really seeing it very well, and really didn't know what to do about it. Being out in the daylight helped a lot, but anyway, since then, I've made, you know, progress over the years. And I do love it so much. So we've got deer and raccoon, mushrooms. So cute. Okay, so this was the block that I think I used that metallic thread the first time. And then now I've made it down to, there's going to be a squirrel here, and there's some metallic thread here. And I hate it. I really do. It is very thick, and like it's impossible to thread on my needle, and it's big and bulky, and I will never use that again. But I'm going to finish up this. I think this is the last block that it's used on. It might be in the date, but I'm not going to use, I won't use it after this block. But I think it's supposed to be like glistening snow on the branch under, you know, above here, above the branch around the squirrel. And so I think I'll go ahead and use it rather than rip it out. If not, I could put some white on it, but anyway, I'm going to try and use it, but it absolutely takes forever to mess with. So this is the bag that I've been keeping this in forever. I made this bag with some Heather Ross fabrics. It's got some cute frogs inside. And I've got all of my patterns blown up big and cut out by blocks. I won't show you the pattern, but you can kind of see, like, I've blown them up and cut them out. So here is this this floss. I don't even know what brand it is, but I don't like it. I think that I used Cosmo threads for this one, Cosmo floss, and I couldn't even tell you where I got that Cosmo floss at the time. I don't know where I would have found it. I had a cross stitch shop that I think I got the fabric at probably, but I don't know that they carried Cosmo at the time. So anyway, this next one is a dimensions kit, and it is my oldest, and I think the last time I did a WIP parade, I said I don't know if I'll keep it. It reminds me of my mother-in-law because we used to cross stitch together in the evenings, and I mean, I didn't know any better. It's kind of full coverage, and it never crossed my mind that that was anything hard. I just sat down and enjoyed stitching on it. And so it's, I think it's called 3 Bird Watchers. And I just thought it was so cute, the little kitties watching the bird. And I have a little kitty now. She's usually right in here with me. She's gotten to where she wants to lay right in front of me. I have over here like an IKEA little desk that I stitch at, and I have a runner across the top of it that my mom made for me because the surface is kind of cold, and I don't know, I just think it makes it a little cozier. And the cat loves to just come and sit, and she inches closer and closer and closer to me until she's like right in front of me, and I have no place. I have no place to go with my hands. And I pull my pattern out from under her. It's just, but I think it's adorable that she wants to be that close to me. So, but this is where I am with it. And surprisingly, I have actually picked it up since I did a WIP parade, and figured out where I was and decided, okay, I need to decide if I'm going to keep going with this or not. And it was a process trying to figure out exactly where I was, because there's kind of some confetti stitches in it, and I wasn't sure where I'd left off, and if I had highlighted the pattern, like, you know, all that. So, but I did stitch on it a little bit more, and I liked it. So I've been playing around a little bit with my projects with one of these hoops. I think it is a, oh, what's the name of these? A Nerge. Yeah, Nerge hoop. And one thing that I'm finding, especially with the Arctic animals on that 28 count, I had the 28 count needle, and it was a very fine needle, and I was able to do the sewing method by holding it in my hand. And I know the tension, like, you get a little bit of a ridge when, at least I do, when I do the sewing method, and I try and, like, push it back down, try not to get that. But when I switched to the 26 needle, right away I could see that the ridge was going to be bigger. And I'm not sure why, but I decided, okay, even though I'm stitching in hand, I'll do the, you know, stick it down and pull it up method. And I'm still kind of experimenting just with using hoops, not using hoops. The stiffer the fabric, like if it's a 14 count Aida, I don't think the tension is bothered much about, you know, using the sewing method. So anyway, but some of the other ones that might have a little bit of a thinner, like the berry patch, that fiber on a whim cream and sugar is a little finer, I think, and it I like the hoop with it. It kind of stabilizes it and kind of keeps it square. So anyway, I'm just still kind of playing around and experimenting with what I like. And so yeah, I actually think those are all of my projects. I did, as I was kind of gathering things, I would find something else. So if there's a project that you don't see that I had last time, I finished a couple of things, and in my next Flosstube I'll pull those out, and I haven't fully finished anything, but I finished a couple things. So I know that I'm going to do a kit parade, because while I wasn't stitching, I was thinking about some of the patterns that I have, and if I could find fabrics to go with them. And so I have kitted up actually quite a bit of stuff that I would like to share. And I also have a regular floss tube that I'd like to do. I had a recent trip to Fort Collins and was able to visit Colorado Cross Stitcher Shop. It was amazing. I was specifically going to look for fabric, so I'd like to share some of the fabric that I found there. And tell you more about that visit, because it was amazing. High words of praise for her shop. And then what else? And I got some just a couple of patterns there too. So anyway, I have lots more that I want to share, and I'm stitching a lot more now, so that's why I thought, well, it's mid-year, I'll go ahead and like kind of see where I'm at with things and share some of that with you. So anyway, I hope you are all doing well, and it's good to be back in the space again and diving in a little bit deeper to my cross stitch. Oh yes, that's the other thing that I wanted to share, is I know some of you have asked, you know, oh, are you going to show quilting? Because I have in the past, and if I don't show some of the quilting, some of you ask about it, but I think I would like to do quilting dedicated episodes, like once a month, and then just maybe mention in my Flosstube some of the things that I've been kind of working on, just briefly, but dive a little deeper once a month. So anyway, I will tell you that I think I've mentioned that I live pretty close to Durango. I'm about an hour away, and I took my machine up to be serviced this week. Was it this week? no, it was end of last week, and so it should be ready anytime. I had started hearing a little bit of noise, and we're in a really dry environment here, and I was like, it probably just needs the insides looked at and like serviced, oiled up and everything. And so of course while I was in there, I have been very resistant to really stash up much fabric because my mom shared a lot with me at Christmas time. And I've got a really good stash and a lot of WIPs that I need to work on. And so I might pick up a fat quarter or so here and there. In fact, I have one like right here. So I'm just going to show you a couple things that I have just to kind of tease a little bit for quilting. But I picked up a little fat quarter. I think it's with Art Gallery fabrics, which are pretty amazing. And then my brother was with me and his wife, and one of the things that they had hanging on the wall was a model of the national parks. It was a national parks quilt. And we decided that they had a kit, but we decided we wanted to pick out our own border fabric. And so you may have seen these, but they have a panel of all of the national parks. And so I won't this time show you like the whole thing, but it's probably my closest national park is Mesa Verde in Colorado. And I'm just looking to see if it's like right here within, I don't know if they're in alphabetical order, but I just wonder if it's, I have been to Great Sand Dunes is then probably the next one. But anyway, I won't look for it now. But you may have a national park near you. If you do, you're very lucky. So anyway, I'd like to make a quilt with this. And my husband was really excited actually about it too, because he was like, oh, that would be so nice to have in our camper. So I'm guessing I'll probably pick out a blue or kind of a blue-gray or maybe a darker green or something like that to border it with. And maybe if I'm lucky, my mom might long arm it for me. So anyway, pick that up. And okay, so the thing I'm like really excited about is they are starting a what do they call it? A quilt along, basically, and once a month they're going to send directions. But with this one, you buy your fabric ahead, and you can add some of your own stash to it, of course, if you want. But it's got kind of a starter kit, and with that, they're going to have a sew day once a month. And I'm really feeling like I need to make some quilty, cross-stitchy, crafty friends here in town. I've gotten to know some teachers at the school that I work with, and so, but it'd be nice to, meet some more people in more of a fun, non-professional way. I worked from home for quite a number of years, and then we were all shut down, of course. Everybody was working from home, and so not a lot of opportunities to connect. So I decided that having a once a month like sew day with some people up in Durango might be just a wonderful thing to do. So this was my like starter kit of fabric. A lot of them are Art Gallery. And when I do a little quilting episode, I will share more about like what the pattern is going to be like and how that quilt along works. So anyway, I think that's all for today, and I hope you guys are all doing well. I've missed kind of connecting with you through comments, and take care, and I will talk to you soon.